In 1977, there was a movement in the Israeli Knesset to try to pass a bill that would legalize abortion. Spearheading the campaign was the Ministry of Justice, the Sar Mishpatim, and his name was Shmuel Tamir. When the Rabbanim, and really any frum person in Klal Yisrael, heard that Israel was trying to legalize murder, there was tremendous consternation and concern. And the Rabbanim decided to send a mishlachas, a group of Rabbanim, to speak with Shmuel Tamir and to try to dissuade him from going ahead with his terrible idea. Amongst the mishlachas, amongst the group of Rabbanim, was Reb Michal Stern, the beloved Rav of Ezras Torah, and Reb Raphael Levine, the son of Reb Ari Levine. The thought process in selecting Reb Raphael Levine was because many of the members of the Lechi and Etzel had great respect for Reb Ari Levine, and the hope was that he would also listen at least, that Shmuel Tamir would listen at least to Reb Raphael Levine, the son of Reb Ari. 2 days before the meeting, Reb Raphael Levine got on the phone, and he called each of the Rabbanim that were part of this group of Rabbanim, and he begged them, and he pleaded with them that they should tear open the gates of heaven through tefillah. They should supplicate, and they should beg in front of the Kisei HaKavod that somehow they should be successful in their incredibly important mission of dissuading the minister from this terrible idea. 2 days later, they met with him. And as the Rabbanim sat with Shmuel Tamir, Reb Raphael Levine introduced himself and said, "My name is Reb Raphael Levine, I'm the son of Reb Ari Levine." And indeed, Shmuel Tamir's eyes lit up. He goes, "Rav Shalan, Reb Ari was our Rav. What do you want to say?" He turns to Reb Raphael Levine, he says to him, "Go ahead." Reb Raphael says, "I want to share with you a short story." He says, "When I was much younger, a secular couple knocked at our door one day. They come inside, they wanted to speak to my father, Reb Ari Levine. My father sits them down, and a large argument ensues between the husband and wife. Turns out that the wife was expecting a child. The husband was in medical school, and he did not want to bring the child into the world. He felt the child would impede his learning and just generally life. He didn't want the child, and the wife very much wanted the child. And they couldn't come to an agreement, so they came to the rabbi, Reb Ari Levine. Everyone respected Reb Ari Levine, even the secular. And they sat down Reb Ari, and Reb Ari listened to both sides. Reb Ari spent over an hour trying to persuade the father that they should bring the child into the world, that the child would only bring nachas, would have a big impact. By the end of the hour, the father was persuaded, and he agreed that they would let the child live, and they would bring the child into this world and raise the child with love. And Reb Raphael Levine leans across the desk, and he looks at Shmuel Tamir, and he says, not long after this disagreement, this couple had a baby boy, and they called him Shmuel. His name was Shmuel Tamir. It was you. And Shmuel Tamir was utterly shocked. He goes, "I never heard this story." He says, "Call your mother." And on the spot, Shmuel Tamir picks up the phone. He calls his mother. And his mother stutters and mumbles and says, "You have to understand, times were different, etc., etc." He slams the phone down. He looks at the Rabbanim and he says to the Rabbanim, "You have nothing to worry about. This bill will never hit the Knesset floor as long as I'm the Sar Mishpatim." Amazing. Yeshua Hashem, terrifying. On the way out, Reb Michal Stern turns to Reb Raphael Levine and he says, "I don't understand something. You knew the story 2 days ago?" "Yeah." He says, "So why'd you call us and ask us all to daven? I mean, it was a slam dunk." And Reb Raphael Levine said something so powerful. He goes, "Slam dunk ahin, slam dunk aher. Story this way, story that way. Without tefillah, we're nothing. Fakert, the reason that the story had an impact was only because of our tefillah." An amazing story of Hashgacha Pratis, but also an incredible story about the power of tefillah. Let's try to see the Rebbeinu Shalom in our lives, but more importantly, let's make sure that we connect to Him through tefillah.